It was while I was still in Delhi that there was some kind of conflict with the jail authorities, the camp authorities rather, which led to a hunger strike in the jail. I also joined the hunger strike. It lasted for 30 days, and due to the effect of the hunger strike, as well as due to its reactions in the Central Assembly, some questions asked there and some criticisms made, some pressure applied there, the camp was dissolved and disbanded, and the prisoners were sent to their respective states. That having been the demand, one of the demands of the prisoners, that they had been brought there from different parts of the country, and their relations who came to interview them had to bear a lot of expense and were put to a lot of trouble traveling, etc. And so they should be sent back to their own states. So I was transferred to Bihar, to the Hazaribagh Central Prison. This was, I believe, the end of 41 or beginning of 42. Naturally, in the prison, we were all keenly following whatever was happening outside, particularly the fortunes of the war. Many things were happening during the war, many exciting things, etc. But unfortunately, things seemed to be rather quiet in the country itself, and we were all fretting because of that. We wanted some action. We wanted ourselves to take part in that action. After a few months of waiting, the opportunity came. The All India Congress Committee met in its historic session on the 8th of August in the great city of Bombay in 1942. And it was at this session that the Quit India resolution, as it came to be known, was passed. Gandhiji gave the signal in his moving speech to the whole country, to the whole nation. And from the 9th of August, on the small hours of which, in the morning, Mahatma Gandhi and the members of the working committee were arrested and whisked away to different prisons. Mahatma Gandhi to the Aga Khan Palace, and members of the working committee to the Ahmednagar Fort. From that 9th of August, the country was once again afire. Those of us who were in prison, every moment of our lives, we were eagerly, can't find the word, wishing somehow to be outside so that we could be with the people and in the front ranks of this struggle. However, it took quite some time, but even in the prison, we were able to practice a few symbolic steps towards struggle. For instance, we refused to have interviews. We refused to have to write letters or to receive letters. The idea was we will, and the country should, and the people should paralyze the post office. We should non-cooperate and so on. If possible, run our own postal services, but not to use their postal services, etc. But these were very inadequate answers to the deep down urges that we had in our heart. It was during this time that a few of us, very few of us, had a heart-to-heart talk one day, and we hatched a plan to break jail so that we could go out and take part in the movement. The leader of this whole plan was an old, seasoned and famous revolutionary of Bihar who had been sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment in the Andamans, given Kala Pani as we used to call it, Shri Yogendra Shukla. He was with us in prison. In fact, we were roommates. We were in the same barrack in which he was. So having had experience of revolutionary work, he planned this with meticulous care. And one night, it was the Diwali night, the night of the Festival of Lights, that we decided to break the jail. And the whole plan was so smoothly and so carefully worked out that it was one of the great successes of the movement at that time. 6 of us escaped, and 6 of us escaped in no more than 8 minutes. That's all the time that we took, because we had been practicing the art of climbing up with the help of nothing more than a rope made out of a number of dhotis tied end to end. The dhotis are what the Indian Hindus wear, long sheets of cloth wrapped around in a certain way. Sometimes it looks very handsome, other times it doesn't. However, after we escaped, there were only 3 persons, or 3 or 4 I think, left behind who knew it, because we had to take into confidence a few people so that the plan could be worked successfully. For instance, somebody had to walk up and down from the gate of the ward in which we were to the place where we were attempting this escape, so that no warder was about, or if he was about, he could be waylaid, he could be involved in some sort of talk or something else, so that we could do this without being spotted. In that way, one man had to be taken into confidence, and there were 2 people required to put the table near the wall, to help in holding down the rope of dhotis which were made, so that when we climbed up and we slipped with the help of the wall, with the help of the rope on the other side, the rope itself would not be pulled back. So 2 people, strong people, had to keep it tied down. Could do this without being spotted. In that way, one man had to be taken into confidence, and there were 2 people required to put the table near the wall, to help in holding down the rope of dhotis which were made, so that when we climbed up and we slipped with the help of the wall, with the help of the rope on the other side, the rope itself would not be pulled back. So 2 people, strong people, had to keep it tied down. the plan was the plan was not the plan. I mean the what is it called? Sorry, it's not plan. Eh? No. What we did was this. Every one of us who was an upper class prisoner was given a writing table. So we took one of these tables, we put it near a shady place, a place against the wall which was behind a barrack, so that there was nobody there. On the Diwali night it had been arranged that in the center of the prison there would be some festivities, and prisoners would be open from the free to go about in the prison from one ward to the other, because this was a festival day, so there was song and music and other things were going on there, so everybody was there. And in this ward in which we were, there were only the conspirators left, plus those who were helping them. So this table was put against the wall, and Yogendra Shukla, who was a very, very strong man, and a very heavy man also, but very muscular and strong and agile, he got up on the table, and the first man who had to climb up and go down the other side, he climbed the table, and then he went up on his shoulders, stood there, and then put his hands barely over the head of the wall, and lift himself up, and then with the help of the rope that was hanging on the other side, it was thrown on the other side, he slipped while these two people were holding it down here. And this way, one after the other, we slipped and went out. Yogendra Shukla himself had difficulty because of his weight, as well as because there was nobody on whose shoulders he could stand. But he was a practiced sinner, so he finally did it. He took a little time. And the last but one man was supposed to bring with him a bundle in which we had tied our shoes and some dry gram and some dry rice for our journey through the forest. That was somehow forgotten in the excitement. So when we got on the other side, we had nothing but our our knickers and our shirts. And it was a cold night because it was already in November, and Hazaribagh has an elevation of nearly 1700 feet. And we ran for all we were worth through the jungle. And one man we had to take with us, who was the secretary of the district Congress committee, who was not one of the socialists, but we had to take him with us because he said he knew a village, a tribal village, only 7 miles away from the jail, which the path to which he knew he would be able to find it even in the dark. The Diwali night is the darkest night. It's the night of the month when there is no moon at all. And but somehow this gentleman got lost, as we all got lost, and we never got to that tribal village from where he was to take the headman to guide us through the forest. The headman was a congressman, and he knew him, and he also had a gun. But all this failed, and therefore we just wandered around the jungle for the remaining part of the night, all the time fearing that the police were chasing us. But fortunately, the news of our escape had not been discovered. The fact of our escape hadn't been discovered till nearly 10 or 11 o'clock the next morning. This we found out later when we met our fellow prisoners when they were released. However, we hardly rested during our trek through the forest, and finally, 2 days later, with our feet swollen and hungry because we had hardly anything to eat. Somebody had sewn into his jacket two currency notes of 100 rupees, but these 100 rupees notes could not be exchanged anywhere in the forest. So Shukla had 4 Rana bit in his pocket somewhere, and with that we bought some dry rice in the parched rice as they call it, in some little village of about 5 or 6 huts in the forest, and we lived on that for those 2 days, or 1 day and the remaining part of the next day when we reached this village, where one of the GCC, the District Congress Committee President, went into, we were hiding in the forest. Well, he went. This village is still in the forest. We are still in the forest, but he went into that village. He knew people there. One of the teachers was a congressman who was in prison, but his younger brother, who was also a teacher, he said he will bring him and he will bring some food and have that currency note change there, and then we would be on the way again. We waited there, I think, by the side of a stream for I don't know how many hours. Finally these people appeared from the village. That teacher also came. They brought some food for us, which was most welcome, and the money had been changed, and we proceeded onwards. It was, I think, 3 days and 3 nights, or 4 nights and 3 days, including the first night, that took us through that forest. And when we emerged into the district of Gaya, on the way we had planned that we would not travel by any road on which there were buses plying or motor cars, motor vehicles plying, or visit any village where there was a telegraph office or a post office. We will walk by the byways of the countryside, not take the main ways at all, because we were afraid that the escape might have been discovered and there would be a hunt on. We succeeded in escaping through Gaya district. We stopped on the way for 3 days to recover our strength and to heal at least the wounds of our feet. We got some shoes, etc., and we started to walk again. And we walked the whole distance up to a station in the district of Shahabad, as it is called, and took a train to Banaras, as it is called, Varanasi. But we didn't go to the main station. We got down at a smaller station near the city, near Banaras, and from there we went to Ramnagar, opposite to Banaras, and all the 6 of us were not traveling together. On the way we had divided ourselves into 2 groups, and the group of which I was the leader was headed towards Banaras. The other group of which Yogendra Shukla was the leader, unfortunately was arrested very soon after the escape in Bihar, because he went to his part of the country and somebody recognized him, and the word was passed and they caught him at crossing some bridge. But we went to Ramnagar. From there in a country boat we went to Banaras, and I went straight to the Hindu University, and I took shelter in the house of the professor of chemistry with whom I had stayed earlier when I had non-cooperated from the Patna college. Being a science student, I had gone to him to spend some time with him, and I used to work in his lab also for some time, for the time that I was there. Fuldev Sahai Verma was a very well-known man in that side. And then the underground life began. I won't go into all that history, but after months of underground activities, we soon established the directorate, the underground directorate. In fact, there was some kind of directorate functioning already, which was strengthened by my escape and other people joining it. We tried to keep in touch with different centers in the country, send them information, send them instructions, send them money, which was collected in Calcutta and Bombay and other rich places of India. Money was freely given at that time for the work that we were doing. And I don't know if the underground movement achieved very much, but this much it did achieve, that it kept the light burning. It did not make the British feel that they had again established the quiet of the grave in the country. Incidents went on taking place. Resistance was not suppressed, was not completely put down, and this kept the spirit of the country up. There was resistance of the satyagraha kind, and there was resistance also of the violent kind, because I and some of others like Lohia, Arun, Patwardhan, some of us felt that perhaps a limited type of violence which didn't involve killing, taking of human lives, but created disorder, sabotage, etc., without following the technique of satyagraha could be indulged in. I think I was among them, one who believed that if it needed to be done, even life could be taken. And when I returned to my part of the country in Calcutta, and from there I went to Nepal, and the Terai of Nepal. From there I organized what came to be known the Azad Dastas, groups of 10 people with 9 volunteers, volunteers, and one leader. And they were given training in use of arms and the use of explosives, etc., to blow up things, bridges, and so on and so forth. And this perhaps was what was not approved of by that section of the directorate which didn't want to go so far. However, there were no serious disagreements, and we went on in the way in which we wanted to do. While I was in Nepal, Lohia came to see me in my camp, and at that time there were other 4 people with me. There was a group of Azad, Dasta volunteers, nearly 35 or 40 of them were being trained in the use of weapons, ordinary simple weapons, guns mostly, in the forest of Nepal, up in the hills. The Nepal government, of course, knew of our being there, but I think the Rana government was in force then. I think they were sympathetic to the whole freedom movement, and they were sympathetic to us. But I think the Viceroy's government put too much pressure on them, and a point came when they couldn't resist that pressure anymore, because we were told that for quite a time the Nepal government would say, well, you come and spot out these people, we don't know them, we don't recognize them, how can we hand them over to you? This was very largely an excuse, because certainly we were known. It was known to us where we were and so on, because after all the Nepali people were helping us. However, when that point came where they could not resist the pressure any longer, we were arrested. One fine morning we were still asleep when one of the helpers in the camp came and awoke me and told me that the camp had been surrounded by Gurkha troops. They were really armed police and not the Nepal army Gurkhas. They were Gurkhas, of course, but of the belonging to the armed police. And this man said that the Subedar wanted to see me. He said, all right, tell him that I shall be coming out very soon. Let me get ready. And of course Lohia was not inside, he was somewhere else, I believe, in some other room. No, he was there, but in some other room. We knew that the game was up because they had taken positions, and though we had guns inside, we could not fight our way through. That was impossible because we would have been overpowered. We were only a few. So I came out, and Subedar didn't say that we were under arrest or anything. He said the Bada Hakim, which means the governor of the district. The Bada Hakim wants to see you and your friends, and I have come here to take you under escort because the Bada Hakim doesn't want you to resist or want you to escape. We must deliver you and your friends to him, and it is up to him to do what he likes. So we had no option. He got some bullock carts. We were put on those carts with our goods, etc. We were in the process of setting up a broadcasting station from there, but this was all foiled by this arrest. Not a broadcasting, a transmitting station from there. We were taken to the Bada Hakim. It took us, I think, that whole day, that night, and the next day, I think 2 days or something. By bullock cart, it was very slow progress. We were on the eastern side, and this was on the nearly to the western side, central side of Terai. Now we were produced before the Bada Hakim the next day, and he joked with us. He asked us our names. We gave our false names, and we said, why have been we arrested, etc. He said, oh, it's all right. We know who you gentlemen are. Treated us fairly well. Apparently, he was not going to do anything. He was waiting till the news of our arrest went to Delhi, and the Delhi government instructed the Bihar government, and the Bihar government sent its police, but the police couldn't take charge of us within the boundary, within the territory of Nepal. They were very strict about that. They said, we will take these people to our border and deliver them on your side. You can't come into our side at all. So we were there for 3 nights. On the way, something very important to this part of this story happened. On the way, in the morning, where we were camped after that night, in the morning we went out, as it is the custom in this part of the country, for our calls of nature, to put it politely. And as I was coming back from the bushes, I saw a young man, something like, he might have been 50 yards away, walking. He couldn't come and talk to me directly because the man with the gun was standing some distance away. He was also a few yards away. But this young man was crying, I saw. Then I heard him say that we are very sorry, we couldn't save you or couldn't protect you, couldn't prevent you from being arrested. He said, don't worry about that, this always happens. one has to be prepared for this. But do one thing, carry this message, oral message to Pratap Singh. Pratap Singh was the pseudonym of Suraj Narayan Singh, who was head of that camp where this training was given. Suraj Narayan Singh today is the chairman of the Bihar Praja Socialist Party. I said, the message was that if the Azad Dasta volunteers considered it feasible, they should try to rescue us from the Bada Hakim's prison. We were not placed in prison, we were placed in what were the police lines, just we were put there with the police people. There are always two armed sentries with loaded guns and bayonets fixed, guarding us even at night when we slept. I think it was on the third night when the Azad Dasta people attacked the camp, the police lines there, and they had planned it very well. I must praise their intelligence and the care they took. And one man was killed, one of the sentries was killed on the spot, and the other was wounded, but he recovered later on. They captured, I think, a few guns and couldn't get the cartridges. And all of us escaped again. And we ran for 8 miles that remaining part of the night and to cross we didn't go by the straight road, we went by any kind of fields and so on. 8 miles to the Darbhanga district. And from there again, it took us many days. We arrived back in Calcutta. From where I had gone to Delhi, and in Delhi we were having our meetings. So then I was to go to Kashmir, Rawalpindi, and then to Kashmir, and then we were trying to see if we could establish some contacts with people outside in Afghanistan, and so on. We had all kinds of wild ideas, not very clearly worked out. And it was on this travel from Delhi to Rawalpindi that I was arrested at a station called Mogulpura near Lahore and taken to the Lahore fort, where I was detained for 16 months, interrogated and tortured, not physically but denied sleep and made to sit on the chair, and these people all the time interrogating, throwing questions into my face, threatening, bullying, flattering, praising by turns. Different teams would come and each team would take a different, adopt a different policy. They started with keeping me awake for the whole day. Then they started slowly. They would take me to the cell and say, now you can go back to sleep. We are done with you. And then hardly 5 minutes would pass. Then another fellow will come and take me again out. And this way they went on. In a few days, it was 24 hours, keeping me awake for the last 10 days, 24 hours, no sleep. And I felt very bad. The head was all the time, it seemed as if it was a nest of what you call these hornets or something inside the brain, all the time buzzing inside going on. I couldn't eat, lost appetite, and so on and so forth. Anyhow, the interrogation ended when they found that they couldn't get anything from me. It seemed that they had a lot of information. It seemed that after we moved from one place to the other, one underground den to the other, it took them about 7 days to 10 days to find out. So they gave me a lot of information to impress me with the fact that they had already come to know everything. They said, here is this statement You are refusing to give your statement. Here's the statement which Achyut Patwardhan has given, which Arun Asif Ali has given, when Ram Manohar Lohia has given. I knew that they were not even arrested. And I knew that even if they had been arrested, they could never give any statement. Of course, later on I find that Ram Manohar was arrested and he was really brought to that prison, to that fort rather, himself later on. And after the interrogation ended, many months after that, they allowed us to meet also occasionally. Well, this is the story. From Lahore, we were, as a result of habeas corpus petition and so on and so forth, Mr. Pardiwala, a Bombay barrister, had gone to Lahore to move a writ of, to petition of a habeas corpus petition in the Lahore High Court. And he was most high-handedly arrested. And this aroused the lawyers of Lahore and the country. A lot of hullabaloo was raised. And later on, the policy changed, and I was produced before the High Court. And Judge Mr. Munir, Mr. Justice Munir, who became the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan later on. A very fine gentleman, I must say. And as a result of that, I and Lohia both were transferred from the Lahore fort to the Agra Central Prison, from which we were released in 1946 April. We were among the last to be released, and that was also due to Gandhiji's personal intervention with Viceroy Lord Weevil. When we were in prison, a Labour Party delegation, parliamentary delegation had come to meet us in the prison. I think this was in preparation for the Cripps mission, etc. I forget their names now, but good Lord. Sorensen. Sorensen was one of them. He was the most important of them. And I think there were three more who had come with him. This, I think, closes the chapter for the time being.